Good evening, everyone. It's Erica here from Me To You Paper Crafts. It's Thursday night, which means Case the Catty. And tonight I am wanting to present the Mediterranean Blooms suite of products. I had meant to do this on another Case the Catty evening, but I had technical difficulties, so it never really happened. But I want to do it tonight, and I've decided to do a card that shows what I call the tone-on-tone technique. It's not a difficult technique at all. You can hardly call it a technique, but that's what it is, tone-on-tone. And that basically means picking an ink and cardstock that are the same color. Okay, it's as simple as that. And you can change it from a lighter color to a darker color, just depending on the look that you want. So that's what we're going to be doing tonight. I hope everyone is well. I hope everyone had a great Canada Day. And maybe you can drop in the comments if you did anything specific. I'd love to know if any of you stayed downtown to see the fireworks, or for those of you who are lucky enough to see the fireworks from where you live. We hear them, but we unfortunately don't see them. And yeah, so today's July 4th. So I wanted to wish all of my fellow American Stampin' Up! Demonstrators and friends happy 4th of July. It's so cool that they're kind of close together. We celebrate, then they celebrate. It's kind of cool thing, north-south. Anyway, let's get started. I'm going to turn my camera down or create my desktop as a solo layout. And I'm going to bring my camera down so I can show you the products that I'm working with here. So let me just adjust my camera, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit more. Okay, here we go. All right, so I've got my catalog open. This is our annual catalog, and I've got it open to page 34 and 35. And I am working with the Mediterranean Blooms suite of products. Now, the stamp set is actually called Citrus Blooms. Stampin' Up! Will always create a kind of a sweet name to represent all of the products. So we've got this stamp set. This is one of our cling stamp sets, which means that the stamps are actually our famous red rubber stamps. And then it also comes with a set of dies. So here's the stamp set. So it's got these absolutely stunning oranges on here. Now, there's nothing to say you can't color them as if they're grapefruits, because grapefruits are round like oranges. Maybe a little harder to get away with making them limes. You might be able to make them into peaches. But anyway, they are oranges. And the paper, though, does have lemons in it as well, oranges and lemons. I'm going to show you the paper in a moment. It's got a little bit of a background pattern on here, which is also on one of the papers. It's got some extra flowers that you can stamp, and there are coordinating dies that you can cut these out, and dies to cut these out as well. Okay, so that's the Citrus Blooms stamp set. The dies are very fun because they come with this fabulous background die here. Three separate dies in this set here. So you've got this outside frame, which is a lot of fun. You can cut this with your DSP, or you can cut it with just regular cardstock, and it's got a lovely little stitched edging to it. Then you can also cut out a frame of foliage. This is very pretty when it's cut out. Okay, frame of foliage. And then they give you this extra foliage piece that you can cut out. And you can lay this behind some of your stamped images or some of your greetings. So this is a very fun set of dies. We're not using it tonight, sadly, but here are the other dies. You've got some lovely pieces of greenery here, 2 small pieces and 2 larger pieces of greenery. You've got some little flowers here that you can die cut out. And then you've got 2 sets of the flowers that you can stamp and die cut from the actual stamp set. And then you've got the 2 dies. This die will cut out this one here. Now, always keep in mind that the stamp set cover is always at a lower, it's never 100%. See, it says down here, images at 85%. So when you stamp it, it's a little bit larger, and that's why the die is a little bit larger as well. So we can cut that out. And then you've got the second die, which cuts out these pieces of foliage here. And the dies are easy to line up. Just look for the stem on each one of these. See, here's the stem and here's the stem. So that's how I line up my dies so I can find them. So a beautiful set of dies. And the thing that really attracted me to this set was the fact that it reminded me of our trip to Italy a few years ago and also into Spain. And there's a lot of blue and orange and yellow, blues and yellows particularly. Okay, so here are the papers here, and I've already cut into some of them, but see if I can pull out the papers just to show you. They're just gorgeous, and I'm going to show you something else that is very cool, which Stampin' Up! Does for quite a lot of their stamp sets. So we've got these two beautiful kind of Mediterranean types of mosaics here. And then on the other side, you've got some lemon themes here. There isn't a die to cut these out, sadly, but you could fussy cut them. They're not too difficult to fussy cut. And then you've got this beautiful piece here. And then this sheet gives you a whole bunch of oranges and then lemons. So you've got clusters of oranges and clusters of lemons as beautiful background paper. Okay, so you've seen those already. And then we also have another sheet here with more mosaics on the back. And this one actually gives you oranges and lemons together. This would make a beautiful gift bag. And then you've got this one that just does the oranges. Okay, so you've got lots of choices here. Now, the thing to point out is that the oranges on this sheet here, I've already cut up one full sheet. You can take the dies. Let me just show you. You can take the dies and you can cut out the oranges here. Hang on, I don't have that right. Is this the sheet you can cut them out of? See, I've already cut out a whole bunch. Let me just double check to make sure I've got the right sheet here. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the right sheet. Let's just put these away. There we go. So this die will cut out the 3 oranges, and then the other die will cut out the 2. How come I'm not getting this right? Hang on just a sec. 3 oranges and 1 orange. Yeah, here we go. There's 1 single orange in here. Okay. So if you cut around the pieces, you can die cut them. And I spent a whole, I don't know how long it took me, but I did. I went ahead and I cut this one second sheet, because you get 2 sheets of each, and I've die cut all of these. So it really saves time when you want a quick card and you don't want to color, because you can stamp and color, or you can just die cut all of these oranges out. And I even die cut on the edges. You see where there's an edge piece? I will actually fussy cut that myself to get edge pieces, because these are kind of fun to put on the inside of the card or on the envelope. Okay. So I have made a few cards with that already. All right, so let's get started and make our card. Oh, and you also get these, there's a set of embellishments. They're called Opal Rounds Assortment, and they're in the blue and the yellow. So you get an assortment of those for some decorative elements here. And as I cut my paper and get scraps, I just put them in these little cellophane envelopes. So I've got scraps ready to go. All right. So let's get started. I've already got the card base ready, and I'm going to show you which card we're making. Oops, better not lose my dies here. All right, so let's set these papers aside. So we're going to start out with a pumpkin pie card base. Often pumpkin pie is a color that is mostly used in the fall, of course, for foliage and for, of course, our beautiful pumpkins in the fall. So I was really happy to see this stamp set come out where we get to use the orange because I love the color of orange. So look how beautiful these cards are here. So I'm going to zoom in again and just show you the detail here. So this card shows you that one framed piece that you can cut out a piece of the DSP here. And then you can also create that foliage edge as well. Here's that foliage edge again on this card. This is the card we're going to be making tonight because this is the tone on tone I wanted to show you. And then this card is gorgeous. It's a slimline card. Look how beautiful that one is as well. But we're going to make this tone on tone card here. All right, so here are the pieces I'm using. I need another piece of DSP. So I've got my, let me just zoom in again or out. There we go. Hi, Christine, and Carol is here. How are you, ladies? All right, so this is my pumpkin pie, and I chose to do a portrait style, but I cut my paper vertically. So this is 4 1/4 by 11 scored at 5 1/2. So that's my card base. And then this is our new peach pie color. Look how great these two colors look together. So I cut this one down to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. No, sorry, 4 by 5 1/4. Yeah, 4 by 5 1/4. And after stamping it, rather than centering it, I'm going to put it on the card base with it butted up along the right edge here. Okay, you don't always have to center everything. Okay, and then we need a couple of strips of the DSP to put behind a greeting. That's also a thing that I forget to do often, but if you look at these cards, you'll notice that they've got a greeting, a couple of greetings, and then some DSP in the background. And here they're layering 2 DSPs behind a greeting. They've done it again over here. So think about that. It's a great way to use up some of your scraps. It doesn't always have to be just the white. Typically, we do white strips for greetings, but you can put some DSP behind that. So I'm going to need another piece of this diamond design here. I'll cut that down as well. And of course, I'm going to need the greeting. So I've got my stamps already on my blocks. You do kind of need this larger E block for the larger stamps. And then I've got pumpkin pie here and Night of Navy. Night of Navy we're going to use for our greeting. Maybe we'll do the greeting to get that done. I'm just slipping my sweater off because it's pretty warm. I've got lots of lights on my desk and it's getting heated up. Okay. So, got a piece of cardstock here. Okay, so let's stamp our greeting first. I'm going to stamp that in the Night of Navy. And then I'm going to just trim it down. This says, "You're the best kind of person." So this could act as a good thank you card. Okay. And I'm going to do that again because I'm going to angle the ends. So let's stamp that there. I'm going to close up my ink pad because we are done with that. I'm going to grab my paper snips and I'm going to angle this like that and angle this like that. And I'm going to trim it down. And I'll trim it down here too. There we go. That's what we need for our greeting. Now, this is the length of our greeting, and we're going to put, okay, I need a narrower piece, and I think I have one in my scrap bag here. Yeah, I think this one will work better. We're going to lay this on there like that. See how it kind of helps to pop out the design. Let's just trim this down. So we're going to be putting this one on first. And I'm not worrying about making them straight. I'd actually prefer them not to be straight. And then this is going to go on top. Okay, now I'm just judging now how wide I want these. And I'll trim these down when I put them on the card. Okay, because we're also going to put a little bit of foliage. Now, as you saw in the dies, we had this really cute little sprig of leaves. So I die cut this out of old olive, and then there's a little trick where I want this leaf to extend behind the greeting, but you see how it's not quite long enough. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it in half and then, pull it apart so it's a little bit longer. You'll see as I get to that point how that's going to work. All right, so let's get to our so-called technique now. So I'm going to grab, now this is up to you. You can use, there's several ways to make what I call a watermarked background. So tone on tone does create this watermarked background where it's, it's kind of light in color. So you can experiment, grab an extra piece of cardstock and see, do you want full strength of the pumpkin pie on here? Or do you want to instead use the actual peach pie color on it? Now, peach pie on peach pie will be more tone on tone than pumpkin pie on peach pie. Okay, so pumpkin pie on pumpkin pie, that's tone on tones, exact same color. Okay. Now, when I looked up the instructions for this card, it actually did use pumpkin pie ink on the peach to make it a little bit darker. Now, I don't know how dark it's going to be, so I'm going to experiment. I'm just going to take this little flower and I'm going to turn this over. I want to see if this becomes too dark. Yes, look how dark that is. I think it's too dark. I'm going to zoom in a bit. It's too dark. It doesn't really create the effect that I'm looking for. So you have a couple of options. I could just start over. I could ink this up and then stamp it off on a piece of scrap paper. Okay, so here's a piece of scrap. So ink it up, stamp it off, then stamp it on. So you see how much lighter that is? So that gives you kind of more of a watercolor, well, I keep calling it watercolor, watermarked effect on there as well. Okay. So now let's try the peach pie. And so this is the peach pie cardstock. Instead of using pumpkin pie, boy, it's getting confusing, pumpkin pie and peach pie. Let's open up the peach pie ink pad and we'll experiment again. So again, I'm going to go full strength just to see the color. See, it gives me what I want. You see, it's not as dark as the pumpkin pie. But let's see if I ink it up, then stamp it off, then ink it. Yeah, it's even lighter. Okay, now I don't see that much. Oh, I gotta put myself in camera. I don't see much difference between the peach pie stamped off versus the pumpkin pie stamped off. Oh no, this is the peach pie stamped and stamped off, pumpkin pie stamped and stamped off. So to get really the watermark effect, I think I am going to use the peach on peach, not pumpkin pie on peach. My gosh, that is a mouthful tonight. Okay, so now I can turn my cardstock over and I'm actually inking up this whole. I find it easier to ink a large stamp like this versus putting this stamp on the ink pad. Okay, so I've got that inked up and now I'm going to put this on my card like so. I actually didn't put that in the right direction. My stem is over here. It should have been at the top. Oh, well, who's going to know? Okay, so there's my image. You see how that turned out? Now, they also took, these flowers come in two sizes, a larger and a smaller one. And I'm also going to put some of these on here. This is the larger one. And then I've got a larger one down here. Okay, and then I've got the smaller one here. And we're going to put this one up here. And we're going to put one down here. Okay. So there you go. That's your technique. Now, if you wanted the darker image, you could have done the pumpkin pie on the peach. But that's what I want for my background right there. Okay, so let's close up my ink pad. And now I'm going to grab I think I'm going to use Tombow glue so I can make sure I get it right to the edge, right side of my card base. Now with this stem, because I stamped this stem in the wrong spot, I could turn this into a landscape card instead. See that? Look at that. Why don't we do that? We're going to go a little bit different. So I'm going to do a landscape card just because I didn't stamp my stem in the right spot. There are a lot of S's in that sentence, weren't there? Okay, so I've gone off book a bit. Now I could have aligned this up at the bottom, but we're going to leave it the way it is. Okay, let's work with our greeting now. Now, because I'm in a landscape position now, I don't have to really trim my, look how cool that looks, just like that. I'm going to do it the way it falls. So let's grab my tape runner. All right, now I'm going to cut this. Just going to snip it in the center there. Okay, I grab my tweezers because I can hold this better with my tweezers. Okay, and I'm going to grab my Tombow glue. And I'm going to put a little piece here. And I'm going to grab this piece. I'm going to put it here. Okay, so I've got, so it's longer now, you see that? And then this I'm going to put on dimensionals. And let's put this on top like that. There's the card. Yes, Christine, I'm simply making it mine. Well, that's the whole idea. When you case the caddy, it doesn't have to be exact. And if you make a mistake, there's always a way to fix it. So there you go. Very, very simple card. The tone on tone in the background works really well. The double DSP behind your greeting. And there you have a really fun little simple card. There you go. So thanks so much for joining me tonight. It was short and sweet. Thanks, Carol. And perhaps if you haven't tried this technique, you'll make one of your own. Thanks, ladies. And I will be back again on Monday for Mojo Monday. I could come back. Let's remove this and come back. Here we go. There we go. Move this out of the way. And then I can say goodbye. So bonus days are on right now. They started yesterday. So you can earn bonus points for amounts that you spend, and you have to meet a minimum to get the bonus points. And then there will be a period of time in which you have to redeem them on another order. So we have this bonus points every year. So it's time for them again. So happy shopping. And I hope I've inspired you to try this new technique tonight. Bye, ladies.